Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our next episode of our Healy Solution series. Tonight's topic is going to be on mental health. So, this is a very important episode. This topic is going to resonate with a lot of people, and I'm super excited to get started. So, just a couple points of order. My name is Caroline Bird. I am the sales support specialist for the Healy US, for Healy World US and Canada. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Love to see so many of you. So we do have interpretation for those of you who need it in Spanish or Chinese. So take a look. You'll see the little globe icon right there. Go ahead and click on that, and you can change your language if you so need. Now, we're going to have a very brief Q&A session at the end. If you guys were not able to have any of your questions answered, feel free throughout this next half an hour, if you have questions during the presentation, to go ahead and put them in the little Q&A box that you'll see at the bottom of the screen. And we do also have a chat if you want to share anything in the chat, even to just say hi. If you're running your Healy like I am, please feel free to share what program you're running. I'm doing Balanced Nerves in the job program group. It's one of my favorites. Quick disclaimer up here on the screen. That's our product disclaimer. I think a lot of you have probably seen it before. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. And just our general Healy World business and income disclaimer. We won't be talking about that too much tonight. We're going to stay on topic, which is mental health. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful guest speaker. Michelle Larson has hosted before. She is an energy healer and a holistic practitioner. She's a mom of 3 kids, and she has a lot of things to talk about tonight. So please give her your full attention. So come on, Michelle, and take it away.
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back and having me here. Mental health is such an important conversation. We'll get into some statistics about that. But worldwide, in the US, everywhere we see it, there's more and more people who are struggling with mental health. And there's so many things that we can do to really help our mental health that are in every single field. And the Healy just happens to so be one of those. So what is Healy? We'll get into that. So it is a wearable, a tiny little frequency device. It is often people will ask, like, is that a heart rate monitor, or is that like a diabetes pump? And it's a really fun conversation to say, actually, it's a mini frequency device. And they say, what is frequency? And you get to share that frequency is very simply tiny little currents of energy that help enhance and really help your body utilize different energy streams. And there are many different ways. The Healy itself, like I said, it's wearable. It marries science and holistic wellness to really provide us frequency therapy at home. Frequency therapy is not new in the world. It's not new to many different practitioners, but what is new or unique to Healy is that it's small enough that every home could have one. You don't have to go to these giant centers with these big rooms and sit in a box for hours and hours. You can just run it from your home, from your office, from your bed, wherever you are. It's FDA cleared in the US, technically a class 2 medical device, and it delivers frequencies to our body, as you can see there. Go to the next one, please. So mental health, this is our emotional, psychological, social well-being. There's so many components to mental health as it is. It plays a crucial role in our stress, our environment, our relationships, how we work, how we handle different decision making or conflict at work, our physical health. A lot of our mental health, physical health, kind of what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but they definitely are impacting each other in that way. So obviously, good mental health positively affects our lives. It affects our relationships, our abilities to feel joy, be in resonance with the world around us, in the glass half full sort of mentality. Poor mental health it can have negative effects, right? The Body Keeps the Score is a fantastic book that really speaks to kind of the ways that our body, our cells have memory. And when we have negative thoughts, when we have poor mental health, our body can start to communicate to us through different dysfunction or dis-ease within the body. So it's a beautiful book. There's many books like it, but that poor mental health can have those negative effects on your physical health, on your self-esteem. How do you feel about yourself? How are you talking to yourself? How do you carry yourself? How do you carry the world on your shoulders, right? Like there's so many things that are impacting us right now that we can see right on our device. We're sitting here at home on the couch doing these things, and you can see things that really start to feel heavy and crush on our mental health. And that can just be things that tip us towards poor mental health, or when we have tools, we can stay in good mental health and stay grounded while we look at kind of negative things that are out there. So the science of mental health. So this is really all about brain chemistry. So neurotransmitters, what are these? They are the little tiny messengers, right? It'd be like in the old medieval days, pigeons and the scrolls. They are the pigeons and scrolls through our body, sending signals, communicating, telling different pathways to activate this, shut down that, turn on this, turn on that. It's really incredible the way in which our body communicates. So brain chemistry is a huge component to our mental health. When they work together, it's really good. When they are impaired, right, it changes the function. If you're driving down the road and there's a blockade, you can't get through. We see this often with different neural pathways, different components to our brain chemistry. Our mental health navigates on those same freeway lines. So when there's something in the way, is it a stressor? Is it a bad day, right? What is that thing? Doesn't really matter so much as what it is. It's how we get to move with that roadblock. How do we handle that detour that's happening? Other things that kind of impact the science of mental health: inherited traits, environmental exposures, right? Where do we work? What are we breathing in all day? What are we putting, makeup, cosmetics, what are we putting on our face? Some of that can really start to enhance or deteriorate some of these neural pathways. So some symptoms of mental health struggles here. So you can kind of see even in the picture, this person looks just sad, right? Like there's just kind of like maybe a lack in their beingness. And you can kind of sense that when you're around a friend or a child or somebody that you're just kind of like, oh, something's just off there, right? Like that, okay, what is that? So it's that feeling sad, feeling down, maybe that confused about what you're thinking about, inability to concentrate, excess fear. We think of anxiety. We think of retreating from friends, not really wanting to be social. There's so many different iterations of this. Tired, low energy, you can't sleep, or all you want to do is sleep, right? We see it in all different ways on that spectrum. Coping with different mechanisms such as drugs, alcohol, different substances. We see that too. Major changes in our eating habits. And sometimes, some symptoms of a mental health disorder appear as physical problems. So this could be stomach pain, right? We think of like IBS or constipation. We think of back pain, headaches. It's kind of like, what are we holding on to? Again, the body keeps the score. What is your body trying to communicate with you that maybe doesn't look like a mental health thing, such as being sad or, kind of apathetic? It's more, ooh, my stomach always hurts when, or I'm always, right? We get to kind of connect those pathways just like our brain is doing inside of how do we respond to certain environments? How do we respond to certain situations? So as I spoke to in the beginning, in 2021, nearly 1 in every 7 people, so 1.1 billion around the world, were living with a mental disorder, with anxiety and depressive disorders being the most common. That is an insane statistic. I get goosebumps because that is a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And it makes sense considering how much we are constantly exposed to or at the fingers touch to inside our day-to-day lives on social media and on the news, if you watch it in papers and all of the ways that we consume it. We see individual, family, community, structural factors combining to protect and undermine this, right? So in what ways are we supporting positive mental health? In what ways is it a deterrent? Are there stressors? Are there components that are super taxing? We have very long working hours. We have people working night shifts, day shifts, right? You see it all the time. Another thing that adds to this is hesitation to talk to professionals. So people don't want to talk about mental health. They don't want to talk about it to their friends. They don't want to talk about it to their family. There's kind of some taboo, some stigma, a little bit of, it's not me, it's fine. I don't actually have anxiety. I just can't sleep or function or do my day-to-day things, but I'm fine, right? We see a lot of this because we think of mental health challenges or disorders or things being really, really big problems. And it's a full spectrum. So that's one thing that we see a lot of the challenges, and it builds up. It kind of accrues debt or tax, if you would. So how to support a balanced mental health. So you want to pay attention to those warning signs. This is kind of what I talked about in the slide before, where it starts to accrue, right? It starts with these little tiny things we talked about a few slides back. Maybe we just don't want to be social, or you're seeing it within friends where they're just a little distant and now they're eating different. It's a roommate, right? You're kind of like really aware of their eating patterns. You're just like, oh, like there's just a few little signs. So paying attention to those warning signs, working with a doctor, a therapist, some sort of health professional to identify what those triggers are. If you always have a stomach ache after hanging out with, that might be a connection to discover for yourself what that looks like. What stress are you holding on to? What is that pattern signaling inside of your body? Knowing when to get help, right? It doesn't mean anything negative about you. It's just simply supporting yourself with tools that you have, taking care of yourself. So what does your sleep routine look like? What are you consuming before sleep? How are you moving your body? In what ways does your body want to move? That's the most beautiful thing about being a human being, is we're all bio-individual, which means your sleep routine might be super different from mine, which is definitely different from my 8-year-old. And they all get to work in their own synergistic way for our blueprint, for our body, for our physiology, that get us to have better sleep, experience better mental health, like be able to balance the stressors of the world easier than it would be if we're really kind of crunching and going against our natural rhythms. Also, healthy eating, it's crucial, right? Keeping that on a regular schedule so that our body can flow in and out as the nervous system needs to adjust based on our days, so we can digest our foods properly, get the nutrients we need. Again, we think of neurotransmitters in the brain. We want to make sure we feed the brain. We don't want a starving brain. That's really hard for it to cope with any amount of stress, let alone physiologically just keep up with existing, right? Social support. This is so essential. We saw a huge part of that statistic may have been from some of the world shutdown that we experienced in 2020, inside of people not being able to have a social structure or no longer being able to see people in person. Huge mental health effects came out of that entire experience. So having a social network, having people you can go to for the highs, for the lows, for everything there in between is essential. And certainly, yeah, just keeping up. How do you support your body? How do you know your body? What do you need in all sorts of levels? So how does Healy come in when it comes to mental health? How are we going to support our mental health for this? So there are so many programs that Healy has. It's quite insane. These are just a few here. Obviously, mental balance, it pretty much speaks to itself here, supports positive thinking. Emotions, we think of our day-to-day. How are we flowing with the emotions that come to us, that roll through us, right? Are you having a really hard conversation, or are you having a hard conversation that you're walking away with someone else's emotions? This can be a really good one to help process yourself with their emotions and yours, because sometimes we like to intermesh them and then we end up taking home what somebody else was just trying to like leave in the garbage can. Feel good, systemic. This one is great. It's the feel good, right? Like we talk about endorphins, all those, like it's just, whoops, you feel really good with this one. Acceptance, this one is fantastic. Positive mood. Pressure, I really do love pressure, especially when the world starts to feel heavy, right? So I have a Capricorn moon in astrology. I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders, but it doesn't take much for us to feel that these days. These are fantastic programs, along with the coaching analysis, the aura analysis. Honestly, many of them really do support the mental health, and it's very easy to use when you're just feeling overwhelmed with everything that's out there, overwhelmed because you have a big meeting, or you need to prepare for an exam, or you've got to study, whatever the thing is, right? You've got somebody that you love that's going for a checkup, right? Get to help bring your nervous system back down so that you can be present, you can stay grounded, and also honor your body. You're not afraid of having those feelings, but you're not going to let those feelings override your mental stability and take your body with it. You get to be grounded and flow with it. So research back wellness, the really beautiful thing with Healy is there's a ton of scientific research and data that goes with it. So it pairs this beautiful blend of woo-woo, frequency. What are these energetic streams we can't see? A lot of people don't really understand it until you compare it to Wi-Fi. It's like, how can we call each other or be sitting here without connections? Oh, there's Wi-Fi. Oh, frequency works on similar waves to deliver a frequency, right? It delivers a current to you. And the beautiful thing with Healy is there's actually science for it. So you can really tap into, how does this work? And you can dig. And I love looking at research articles. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that. But in a 2025 randomized controlled trial, they found that frequency-specific microcurrent reduced the stress and emotional distress and improved the emotional states and life satisfaction. Another one, these participants receiving this reported fewer negative emotions and improved emotional regulation and serenity. So this is what I spoke to inside of, you get to have your emotions. They're not bad. They're really great cues. We love our emotions. And how can we regulate when they come into our field? That is often where we see a lot of people start to jar and kind of get off balance when negative emotions come up or when things come in their field. But when you have a solid, grounded structure, it's not so much. We think of like a tree with deep roots versus a tree with shallow roots. It doesn't take much in a storm to knock over shallow roots. And this helps you anchor it deeper. And we can see that in the research here. Different pulsed electromagnetic fields, so PEMF is how it's referred to in the field, studies show improvements in quality of life and anxiety-related outcomes. So really beautiful benefits there. And all the research articles, if you want to go dig into them, they're pretty fun. So good habits to help your mental health. So we kind of talked about this. Routine care, right? What does it look like for you to work with professional, right? Holistic, medical, everything there in between. You don't have to neglect them. Sometimes it's the only space that individuals find they can actually share what's going on with them. So they can be really, really beneficial, really beautiful. Routine visits. You want to consider those, right? Nourishing foods. You want to eat good foods. Everything has energy. Everything has a frequency. When we think of foods, we want to eat things that have life inside of them, right? We think of, perhaps more organic foods, or you're going to do the good, better, best model, right? You work with what you have, but you may not want to eat something that is dead, right? So we want to eat good, nourishing foods that can communicate with our body, are biologically identical, so that they can meet the receptors and work in there. It takes less energy for your body to break those down. It's really beautiful. Mindfulness practices. What does this look like? This is meditation, breath work, journaling. What I like to think of this is really an opportunity to come home to yourself, whatever that looks like. You don't have to sit on a meditation pillow for 25 minutes every single day, but when can you just tune in with yourself? Is that journaling? Is that in the pickup line for your kiddos, right? You're just sitting there like, all right, here's my 5 minutes to me. What do I want to be with? It's a beingness practice inside of it. It really helps you show where you're at, all of those sort of things. Intentional movement. Our bodies are meant to move. They love to move. We are 70% water, 75% water, somewhere in there. I forget this statistic, but water is always in motion. Our cells are always in motion. Our blood is always in motion. Our bodies are meant to move in some sort of way, and very intentionally continuing to move. So getting yourself out there, walking, running, yoga, stretching, however that looks for you in your life, in your routine, it's really important and can help flow that mental energy out of your body as well. So this is a success story from Claire in Toronto, Canada. My son went through a difficult breakup last September and was feeling very sad for quite some time. I supported him constantly using Healy, especially the mental balance programs, along with the Bach flower remedies. About 2 months later, something shifted. He started running and even gave up some unhealthy habits. This month, he signed up for a half marathon, and in June, he'll be running a full marathon. His dad had encouraged him to run for over 10 years, but it never happened until now. I've been using the Healy to support both myself and my family emotionally, and we truly love it from the bottom of our hearts. So these are some of the many incredible, this is one incredible success story, but I have so many from clients, from friends who have been in really deep trenches of emotional sadness, of grief, of despair, whatever their situation may be. And there's just this kind of life support, this life preserver aspect, you know, we think of like a life jacket that helps people stay afloat. And then even more, we see this here. It helped the son, but also now he's running marathons. That is so cool. Empowerment through frequency. So this supports your body's natural ability to maintain energy and vitality by encouraging balance and flow, right? We think of the body, it's always in motion in that way. The Healy helps your body, giving it signals, giving it basically encouragement, little nudges, all these things in a beautiful, coded, ready to receive package for your body to utilize. So it helps you feel more energized, centered, and aligned throughout your day, and supporting your well-being from the inside out. So this isn't just makeup or cleanser or something we put on the outside to feel better, but truly from our cells all the way out. Share the feeling. So experiencing emotional freedom and helping others do the same is such a rewarding practice. So it's fun inside the Healy with the coil, not to get too technical, but you can help send frequency to people who aren't with you. We just heard about that mother, Claire from Toronto, speaking about sending Healy to her son. This is something you can do. When I've shared with people, I had a really bad day, or, you know, I've had quite many experiences in my life where my mental health gets challenged. And then sharing that with people, and then they have a bad day and they're like, hey, can you send me frequencies? Can you do that thing? Right? You get to share and then help people experience regulation, grounding, centeredness. They start to come home to themselves and lights turn back on in their eyes, which is so beautiful. So when you share your Healy, you're not just sharing this product or looking for a bonus. You're actually sharing peace of mind. You're empowering people. You're adding to their toolkit at home. And it makes a huge impact and difference, even if it's you just sending them frequencies, if it's them eventually getting their own frequency to then send to their people. It's really this beautiful popcorn of expansion in that way. So experiencing it for yourself, if you don't have a Healy, so either the Healy or the Mag Healy or the two that you see up on here, connect with who invited you, right? If you're ready to explore that, feel the frequencies, it can be sent from countries away. You can be very, very far. And there's some really special offers that are out there currently for you, depending on which country you're in. You get to speak to who invited you today to experience that. Join us next month. So these are open. So May 12th is our next one at the same time frame. The topic is going to be work-life balance. And it's actually going to be hosted by my dear cousin, Nicole Keekley. But a beautiful topic, because who doesn't need a little bit more work-life balance, and how to use the Healy to enhance that. So yeah, go ahead, Carolyn.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was an excellent presentation. I just learned so much when you talk, because, I mean, I helped prepare the presentation, but you have a lot more insider knowledge than I do. So wonderful. We will take a couple questions. We have a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we will answer some questions. I believe there are 2 or 3.